actually, so I'm going to, oh yeah. So by the way, everybody, this is being recorded. So I'm going to I'm going to spotlight Deke for everyone. We said we agreed to 5 minutes. So 5 minutes you have, sir.
5 extemporaneous unshaved minutes. In fact, just loaded the Christmas tree off the top of the car and dropped it into the living room. I usually don't get the tree. In fact, I've never gotten the tree before my birthday, which is December 12th, 12/12. Oh. And but this year I thought, you know what? Let's break with tradition. COVID has made things all topsy-turvy. Let's get a full month out of this thing, right?
Right.
Before the needle stops. So doing things a little differently this year. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to give you guys all the big cheer, rah-rah speech. And you know, Dennis is going to give you specifics. He's going to give you pointers. He's going to give you insights and all that. And I'm happy to answer any questions before I go. And I'm happy if it's more than 5 minutes. It's just a nice, sunny California late Indian summer day. So it's sunny and warm here, and I've got all the windows open. But the thing that I want to plant in your minds, if you haven't already heard me on this particular soapbox, is that I think right now is one of the absolute best times in the past 100 years to go out and recruit singers. And the reason for this is the fact that people have been locked in their homes and forced to watch Netflix for the past year and a half, basically, right? And that seclusion from others, that removal from other people has amplified the experience that people have about being alone, experience that people have about not being in contact with their neighbors, not connecting with their communities, not having an opportunity to do anything that's really social. And like birds, crickets, and whales, we are biologically programmed to sing. I truly believe that of all the performing arts, vocal music, singing is the thing that is closest to who we are as mammals, as humans, because before there was speech, there was tone. When you hear creatures in the animal kingdom using their voices to connect with others, to communicate, and that's really what singing is, right? It's heightened speech. And when you do it with other people, that connection is so powerful. It's why we want to hear vocal harmony in the holidays, because that sense of connection is so powerful. So I'm telling you all things you already know, but the thing you might not realize is that right now we have a nation, we have a world of people who are realizing how much they miss connection with other people. And for many of them, how much they miss singing and singing with others. Some of them might not have sung since middle school, since high school, since college. Maybe they did something in their 20s and then it fell away. They got busy, they had kids, their job moved them to a new town and they didn't know anything, whatever. We need to find a way to go out and get these people. And I think some of the best ways to find them is to put out word in different local Facebook groups. You know, use social media for this and just let people know, like, hey, we've got this. I mean, it's all things that you know. Contact the local music schools and music departments, the colleges, whatever, find recent graduates. You can also go out and look for pieces of society, people who are feeling disconnected, people who are not fully able to integrate into society. So you could go to some kind of a social center for transgender women, for instance. If your choir is of people who identify as women, this would be an incredibly powerful way to reach out to people who don't feel as though they're invited into society as women and say, we're a women's chorus. We would love it if you would join us. And also many Christmases I've gone and done volunteering at homeless shelters for families, something that a lot of people don't even think about. But if those moms are in a shelter, if they have an opportunity to get a break and a connection with other people in the community, these are people who are yearning for that kind of a connection in particular. And then of course, all of the old suspects. But I think that right now, doubling down and doing an extra strong, full court press on reaching out to people is going to bear more fruit than ever before.
No kidding.
I think, but fire away if you have questions, if you have like, well, what about this? And this hasn't worked or whatever. I mean, I'm here. Let's talk. Let's do this. You can unmute or you can put it in the chat box. I mean, I'm happy to answer questions. And then Dennis will give you all of his well-organized thoughts.
Yeah,
that's the upside. I'm the opening act, right? Then Dennis is the headliner. That's That's the way we're doing this here. Yeah. It's good. It's so quiet.
I think people are just in shock because nobody knew you were coming, right? So
There's
they're
no,
like,
it's not. Yeah.
it's just, you're such a,
Neither
just,
did I, Dennis. Neither did I. 45
you're-
minutes ago, you get a little notification. You want to drop by? Yeah, yeah, of course. Why not? The answer is always yes. That's my motto. That's what I tell everybody when I'm working with Disney and groups
so
I work
very
with,
cool.
whatever. The answer is always yes.
Absolutely. So, so there's a new podcast coming in very soon.
Well,
Counterpoint?
I don't know about the Counterpoint podcast. About halfway into COVID, my co-host and his wife, who's also the producer, basically were like, yeah, let's take a little break. And I haven't heard them gear up since.
Aw.
So who knows? But this is something I'm used to, having started so many programs, so many projects, so many things. People expect like, oh, everything's going to just always be there and last forever, but not everything does. We do it for like a season and a half, and maybe it'll take off more. But yeah,
well,
but
I'll throw in.
But I just did a whole hour on somebody else's podcast. I tend to do one like one a month, so people get plenty of an opportunity to get really sick of the sound of my voice. Which,
well, I gotta tell you, I have your podcast on repeat. The number of times that I've listened to those episodes, every single time I listen to one, I learn something new. So it's amazing. You're from both worlds, right? We're from the B world, right? From the barbershop world, where a lot of people think that barbershop is less and barbershop is there's a lot of preconceived notions about how barbershop is perceived in the world, and you're from both sides of that world. You've seen the a cappella barbershop side, but you've also seen the the pentatonics and home freeze actually coming in soon. So like
great.
yeah, so in your mind, in your perspective, what do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions about when we talk about barbershop and when we talk about its existence in the a cappella universe? Do you have any how's barbershop seen in the world?
I think the biggest misconception fundamentally across American society and world society is that it was an African American style of music, which is not unlike rock and roll, right? It's not unlike jazz. It's not unlike so many different popular music styles. It's just that we didn't have decades of basically, let's be honest, no Black people allowed, right? I mean, that's a beautiful thing about popular music, is that it is this wonderful melting pot. Back in the Elvis Presley and the Pat Boone days, there were the Black records and the white records, the Black radio station, the white radio, and they did the same songs, right? Nothing like hearing white guys sing Tutti Frutti by Little Richard and think like, that's the one I want, Anyway, I think that's the biggest misconception, that it's old white guys, to go all the way to the thing. So people don't always know that it's women. People don't always know that it's not people who are old, and people don't always know that it's music by and for people of color. So if we can tear down those walls, if we can get that and lead with that as a part of what the message is, then great. And I know, I mean, this is Harmony Incorporated. You are the good guys. You're the ones who drew a line in the sand, and your very existence is because you refused racism. And that is something to be very proud of. And it's something to put out there. But I think the messaging has been the hardest thing to break through, because it can't be enough to simply say, we're welcome to everybody, right? Because all it takes is a 21-year-old Black woman to walk into the rehearsal, not see anyone her age, not see anyone her color, and think, this doesn't really feel like it's for me. So it's a matter of creating a perception that it is for everyone, not merely just saying it is.
Absolutely.
Which is an extra order of magnitude. So
so that's Yonoki who's asking, does it matter if it's
barbershop and singing? It doesn't matter if it's barbershop. And basically, whenever I talk about a cappella, a cappella is big tent, okay? Within a cappella is what I would call contemporary a cappella, like pentatonics, or home free is country, but that's also contemporary. And then there's doo-wop, and then there's vocal jazz, and then there's barbershop, and there's classical, right? There's folk music from around the world. There's Ithaca Maya, which is the tradition Ladysmith Black Mambazo sings with, right? There are all of these different styles. So it's not really that it's barbershop and something else. It's a lot of different pockets. And yes, barbershop is an older musical tradition with some specific rules about the way in which it's sung. But barbershop also has the best social organization of any of the a cappella or choral music organizations, for that matter. I mean, the barbershop conventions are where you see all your friends. The barbershop groups and courses and quartets and competitions and everything. That's this incredible network that's almost like the collegiate a cappella world, but goes on for the rest of your life. And so that's something that everybody else wants or doesn't know that they want, but definitely wishes they had. That's your magic bullet. Lifelong, sing for your life, sense of community, constant sister and brotherhood everywhere you go, all around the country, et cetera, et cetera. So leaning into that, I think, is also really powerful. If there's a way to convey it rather than simply say it. You know, the thing I learned in elementary school English, show, don't tell, right? With your story writing, with your essays, with your poems, whatever it is, with your music. Elicit those feelings rather than tell people this is how you should feel, right? And that's, so in the marketing materials, in the way you're getting out in front of people, in the videos you're making, if you can show that connection, that sisterhood, that sense of community, and in cutting together the videos and the videos that you make and that you put together in your materials, et cetera, it's so much more powerful than just saying it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's about the people making the music. It's not just about the music.
Yeah, totally. Well, Claire said, I honestly thought it was, when I joined, it was old people singing Down by the Old Mill Stream, and pleasantly surprised the average age of your first course was 32. That's awesome, Claire. And I think that is a number that I'll bet most barbershop courses would just shy of kill to have.
Yeah. And I was well underage then. I was probably about 19. So I did still feel quite young, but I mean, to have a chorus these days of an average age of 32 would be quite amazing. But we are getting younger and younger, so that's awesome.
It'd be awesome. And there are some, like the Sirens of Gotham, that definitely skew younger and skew more urban and have a different character about them. And so that's really important and really great. And I think part of that also is straddling the line. Like Dennis, you said, well, you're in both camps. I think by conveying to people that you're a chorus and you sing a wide range of music, and some of it's barbershop and sometimes you compete, but a lot of times you don't. And your competitions anyway are fun. They're supportive and exciting and really almost like a reunion, like a homecoming. So by putting that out there and maybe not leading with the barbershop, then you're not sending people, it's not that you're hiding it, you're just not putting in your top paragraph or the top topic sentence of your paragraph something that might confuse people and mislead them as to what this is, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and absolutely. It's all genres, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to be on our way to talk about recruiting and what individuals can do to be able to grow their chapters and their courses. So I think that your contribution is a fantastic setup and a mindset that we hopefully can keep throughout this entire thing.
Good. People want this. They just don't always know they want it. That's it. 100%.
Yeah.
Go get them, guys. I look forward to you doubling every single one of your courses. I can't wait. And I hope to see you all in person soon.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That's the magic one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe we'll bring you down to Ottawa as we planned last year and hopefully have a big event that you can come and just talk at everybody for an entire weekend or something.
I would love that. I would very much love that. So thank you for even mentioning that. That will be in the back of my mind, waiting for the right moment.
You bet.
Stay safe and healthy, everybody, and go get them and drop me a line anytime if I can help with anything.
Deke, you're a scholar and a gentleman, and there's very few of us left. Take it easy, man.
As are you. As are all of you. Go be scholarly and gentle personally. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Well, that was fun. I thought you'd like that surprise. Is that okay, Madam President? Hey, Inoki.
Hey, Denis. Ça va?
Très bon.
Très bon.
So I have the chat here. I'm sorry, I kind of discombobulated the order of events here. I apologize. Amy's looking at me with eyes going, oh, you messed up the schedule. So no, I'm kidding. She would never do that. So
it's all good, Denis. That was a fabulous surprise. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So yeah, my pleasure. I mean, sometimes, stuff just lines up and you just ask a question and then just boom, like that, it happens. So, yay. Was there something to announce, or did you have something was there somebody who had an
Well,
intro?
you kind of stole Lisanne's thunder, so we'll give the floor to Lisanne and then back to you, Denis. Thank you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Actually, I think Denis doesn't need any introduction. just you're a busy guy, Denis. Wow, I was reading your bio. It's wow. Directing Capital Cordettes, and then also co-directing another chorus. That's a men's chorus, right?
It's a mixed group. It's called our group is called Vocestra. It's 24 singers, but every singer has a microphone. So it's if you've seen Perpetuum Jazile from overseas, it's the same thing. So it's a group that has like I said, everybody has a microphone. So it's you can't hide.
You can't hide. Very cool. Very cool.
But you could be muted though. So
there we go. So we're so happy that you're here, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation on very short notice, I might add. And you pulled this together and you brought in this fabulous guest and gift tonight.
Totally.
Of your knowledge and all your experience, 30 years. Wow. So thank you so much. This is a great topic, and we're very excited to hear what you have to say. So take it away.
Okay, let me just I think I have the right to share now. Yes. I'm going to make sure, I'm just going to position my screen now so that I can see you and I can see what I want to see. And then I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share the other screen. This screen. Boom. You should see everything now. Good. Participants can now see your screen, it says. All right, awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Denis LaFlamme, and I'll be your guy there for the next 40 minutes or something like that. I'm glad that everybody got here in time to see Deke Sharon, who obviously I call him the godfather of a cappella, and he's one of those guys that just has so much generosity and has his mark everywhere inside of a cappella, and obviously barbershop being one of those art forms. And he's got so many resources. If you go to his website, and he's got books that are fantastic. I have them all, and is one generous person that knows a lot about. So if you feel like getting a coach or anything like that, feel free to reach out to Deke. He's definitely one of the uber talented ones. So here we go with my presentation. I just very quickly usually introduce myself. It was in the bio, I think, but if you're interested, I'm 52. I'm co-owner of a speech therapy clinic here in Ottawa. My living is being a courseware developer and IT instructor for larger corporations or the Canadian government here. I'm also a Paddy Master scuba diver trainer. So if you want to learn how to scuba dive, give me a ring. And then because I was traveling so much with the scuba diving, I decided to become a travel agent part-time to be able to book my own trips. And so I've been a course director since the age of 17. I've been a barbershopper for 30 years. We'll talk about that in a bit. And I've been marketing VP for chorus companies and Barbershop Harmony Society for, not Barbershop Harmony Society, the Ontario district of Barbershop Harmony Society. So that's me. And of course, I'm the director of the Capital Cordettes here in Ottawa. Who you are? Well, you are somebody that is singing in a chorus, hopefully, just to make sure that you're in the right place. You're friends with people that sing. You'd love to see your membership grow. You think that a cappella is pretty cool. You're not necessarily sure of how you can help, but you really wanna. You're in there, and odds are you're also not on every single social media platform that exists out there, and that's a very, I would say, a very socially good thing, but it's also something that is not it's not a minus. Nobody expects you to become an absolute pro in all of this overnight. And so a bit of housekeeping. If we talk about my presentation style, I borrowed this from Brian Lynch from BHS because I thought it was so well made. When we talk about when I say things, sometimes, we have speech habits, we have things that come out, and I say guys a lot. Like even Deke was saying, yeah, you guys are great, and I'm like, oh, we don't say guys anymore. But anyway, so if you hear me say he or she or girlfriend or spouse or sweetheart, it's all included in what we mean. So please don't, forgive me if sometimes I say things that might be just, falling into a specific silo. Barbershop, it's about relationships. We talk about, we frequently communicate with each other in many different ways, but, it's really easy to err, even if we have all the best intentions. So let's all be patient with each other when we're talking. Of course, I'm not making any assumptions about anything that happens in my life or in your life. So I'll just, let's all be as understanding as possible during our communications. When we talk about tonight, well, as you saw, we're here to talk about recruiting, but this isn't a super in-depth, high, very deep digging in conversations about how to recruit. We're going to keep things lighter, easy, accessible. We want to make sure that, if you have any questions, you just throw them into the chat or literally interrupt, just unmute yourself and start talking. And eventually, I'll stop and it'll be your turn. There's no super formality in all of this. If you feel like renaming yourself, to just have at least your name, but also maybe which course you're with, or if you have a specific role, that's completely acceptable and welcome, of course. Okay. I encourage you to have something to take notes with, either your phone, or you can, type it in. If you're on your computer, you can just right click on your desktop and go new text file and just start typing in there. Simply because we'll have some activities where I'll expect you to make a bit of an effort and contribution, and sometimes we might have to think for 30 seconds, so hopefully just find something that you're able to type in, and of course we'll be able to use the chat. So the next slide is a video. It's a 40-second video. The presentation that he does is a lot longer, but this is a video with Benjamin Zander, who is currently the musical director of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra. He's also the director for the Philharmonic Youth Orchestra. And you'll hear Ben talk about classical music, but when he says classical, he could say barbershop and or a cappella, and it would be the same. So here we go with Ben. Can you hear?
A lot of you know the story of the two salesmen who went down to Africa in the 1900s. They were sent down to find if there was any opportunity for selling shoes, and they wrote telegrams back to Manchester, and one of them wrote.
Well, you're not able to hear?
Maybe a little louder, Denny.
Let me start that again. I'm so sorry. That's the one thing we didn't test, eh?
Probably a lot of you know the story of the two salesmen who went down to Africa in the 1900s. They were sent down to find if there was any opportunity for selling shoes, and they wrote telegrams back to Manchester. And one of them wrote, "Situation hopeless, stop, they don't wear shoes." And the other one wrote, "Glorious opportunity, they don't have any shoes yet." Now, there's a similar situation in the classical music world, because there are some people who think that classical music is dying. And there are some of us who think you ain't seen nothing yet.
So I'm cutting it from a great presentation that he does. If you have a chance to go Google Benjamin Zander, it's a 14-minute thing. And I usually have a tear at the end of that thing every time because it's so inspirational. But if you think about barbershop, and if you think about recruiting, and if you think about new members, you know, a lot of people will say barbershop's a dying art, and you know, we're just going to be extinct, you know, whenever we run out of members. And then there are some courses that seemingly ignore that thought and are just ready to, you know, they're just killing it, and there's new members, and it's healthy, and everything is happening in the fun way, and they're, you know, they're doing great. So before we talk about you recruiting someone or you getting somebody to join your course, it's always important for, you know, before we do something, that we understand what our mindset is. And so this is the part where we talk about, you know, what our mindset is. And so this is the part where you can write a few things. And then if you decide to share them in the chat, that's also great. But so when we talk about recruiting, right? If you think about recruiting a new member for your course, right? What imagery comes up for you? What do you think about? What do you know, do you see this as something that is challenging? Do you see something that is exciting? Do you see this as an activity? Do you see this as a chore? Do you see how challenging do you feel, or how excited are you about recruiting, right? Do you feel lost? Do you feel like you can't wait, right? And all of the above, right? That's which is thanks, Debbie. And if there are people that feel like sharing, you know, of the why you're here type of thing, you know, feel free to jump in. But I'll give you, like, you know, a good 10 seconds to just write down if you have anything, you know, when you think about recruiting members, you know, what do you see? And in that same train of thought, how likely is it that you would be able to bring, well, that was loud. How likely is it that you would bring, so Amy says excited, but I also go into planning mode, takes work and planning, and, you know, yes, of course, it's definitely very worth it. Thank you, Amy. How likely is it that you would be able to bring a guest next week? If you said everybody's bringing a new guest next week, how likely is it that you would be able to do that, right? And then I always joke, and what if I gave you $10? Or what if I gave you $100? Okay, what about if I gave you $1,000 to bring a guest next week? What are the odds of you making it with a guest under your arm next week, right? So one of the things is, of course, you know, is it worth my time? But what is to you the value of bringing a new guest to your course, right? Is it about you? Is it about the course? Is it about the member? You know, where's your focus into that? And how likely would it be for you to be able to pull that off? When you talk about your course, how proud are you of your course? You know, you could be on a scale of 1 to 10, or it could be an emotion, or it could be, you know, how, you know, I mean, there are quartetters in here. I know there are fantastic quartetters in here. And you know, I've been in a few quartets, and I know that when I talk about my quartet, you know, my chest puffs up, and I'm excited and I'm proud. And I'm like, hey, you know, it's like a dad with a newborn, you know, it's like, check out the videos of my quartet and the videos of my pictures of my last contest, and, you know, and check out our new outfits. We had blue hats. It was awesome, you know? And so how, you know, what's that to you when you talk about your course? Do you say, 12 out of 10 of my course? Well, there you go. That's it don't go no higher than that. That's awesome. All right. So, you know, how, what's that element, you know, and again, you know, there's always, and so if it's at a specific level, is there anything we can do to make that level go higher? You know, I would like to show a video from YouTube. Okay, well, let's put a pin in that, Claire, and see if we're able to squeeze that in at the end. Do you consider that your course rehearsals are worthwhile?
Sorry, Denny, I don't want to show a YouTube video. That's what I like to show when I promote as to possible new members.
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's cool. Both were good. Maybe you get to show us a video of your course after this. So we'll still do it. But yeah, that's definitely, check this out. And if you do consider that your rehearsal are worthwhile, why? Like, not just, because they're fun, because everybody can say that, but actually pulling out, why do you enjoy, why is your rehearsal worthwhile? Why should I take 3 hours out of my my life, to go spend time with you? What's in it for me is obviously the whiffum of everything, but what's in it for me, So those are questions, and some of them, are easier to answer. When you say I sing in a chorus, are you excited? What's your mood, right? If you said I'm going to associate 2 or 3 moods, how do I feel when I say I sing in my chorus, right? Do I feel, like what type of feelings does it bring? Okay? And again, why are we doing all of this? Well, because if we understand where you're sitting and what your basis is and what your emotional attachment is to the chorus, right? Hopefully, assuming that they're mostly positive and they're, in a good energy, that's the energy that you'll be using when you're conveying your message to the people you're talking to. You say, hey, Amy, listen, there's a new coffee shop that's right by the corner. And yeah, they're pretty good. And, their coffee's not bad. You wanna come for 5 hours and have a coffee with me there? What do you feel like? If you want to go, right? And so, it's a pretty easy outcome to discover that, it's not just, but it's not, hey, Amy, how you doing? So anyway, I'm in a course and it's like so awesome. And like, do you want to join? Right. So there's a middle ground into, where we're from and where we're going. And so the same way, of course, you would like to be approached, odds are the same way the your future guests would be approached. So last but not least, are you afraid of the B word? I know that I sang in a chorus of elderly gentlemen on the South Shore of Montreal. I actually directed for a bit, and the average age of the course was I would say 68 or something like that. But I spent a couple of years with them, and it was awesome. Like, I had so much fun, and I was like 23 or 24. It was ridiculous. Like, the gap between me and the median was ridiculous. But I lived beside that chorus for 3-4 years. No idea they existed. Not even a clue. And when I visited the rehearsal, I didn't even know they were a chorus. I thought they were a quartet because I had seen the quartet rehearse and he invited me to the rehearsal. So I went to the rehearsal, and then a bunch of people started showing up at this quartet rehearsal. And then when he said, well, we'd like to introduce you to our director, I went, oh, it's a chorus. All right, now. And so, the thing is that it's not always a question of age, but there's obviously, a lot of people are afraid to say I sing in a barber shop course. And to Yanoki's point, by the way, if is it important that it's barbershop? I challenge you to pull out of your every single song you have, how many are actual barbershop songs, right? So that's barbershop in a true sense of it, which means you could take it and you can go compete with it at a barbershop contest. That's a barbershop song. Anything else is not a barbershop song that's contestable. And I got to tell you, Santa Claus is Coming to Town is not a barbershop song, so just saying. All the spiritual stuff, not barbershop. All the patriarchal stuff, not barbershop, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we sing that's already not barbershop, but because it's kind of spread in the same way and the lead's under the tenor and there's a bass and the baritone, we're like, oh yeah, that's barbershop. Not quite, But are you afraid of that word? Do you say, oh, I sing in a barbershop chorus, or, it's like that. So think about that. we know a little bit more about you. And I'm sorry, I should have said, are there any shares? Is there anybody that has any shares that they want to, that comes out of what we just did a bit, talking about how you see things and how you feel about things? And you don't have to, it's cool if you don't. I won't take it personally. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, back to statistics it is. So we know a bit about you. We know a bit about your course. You have a mentality of what's going on in all of this, but what about them, right? And I thought it'd be interesting to look at in Ontario what's happening with choral singing. And so I pulled out this Choral Canada is a great organization, and in 2017 they commissioned a survey. And so one of the you know, a few of the stats that came out of there that I just kind of put in for us to look at. But think about this: 1 in 5 Ontario household has a choral singer. 1 in 5. And by the way, you don't have to write down all these numbers, right? I can just take this presentation and email it to you whenever you want. So like, don't worry about that if if you're worried about numbers. 1 in 3 Ontarians has had choral singing while in school. 1 in 3. 1 in 3 Ontarians attended a choral performance. That's within the 2016 year, right? I'm pretty sure the numbers would be the same, post-pandemic without the pandemic kerfuffle there, right? That's a lot of people with a very high ratio, right? When you talk about, how many people would be interested in singing in a chorus, people say, I don't know, maybe 10% or, 5% or whatever. It's actually 20% plus, right? It's a very high number. If you look at actual statistics, right? We have here, in 2016, if you look at all of the numbers, that's 1.6 million Ontario residents, right? Now, to be fair, it's about 900,000 of adults and, about 700 for under 18, but it's still a million people, 12% of the total of the province population, 10% of Canadians sang in a choir in the all of Canada. In Ontario, we have 11,000 choruses, 11,000 choirs. Over 3.5 million Ontario adults attend choir performances, and 28% of Canadians attended a choir performance. So all of these numbers aren't really important to memorize those numbers. But what does it say? There's a ton of people out there that like to sing in a chorus, a ton of people. Think about that. If you look at those numbers, that means that if you walk down the street and you knocked on 10 doors, odds are 3 of them would have a chorus singer in there, right? So there's a lot of people, which is a huge misconception. A lot of people think, oh yeah, there's not that many people that want to sing in a chorus. It's the difficulty is somewhere else. It's not in the numbers. We have the numbers, and we have the youth numbers too, because barbershop is very exciting to youth if you're able to connect with musical educators. So, any questions so far? Type in something, say something. I got a bunch of cameras that disappeared. We're good. Either I'm putting you to sleep, or I'm doing an amazing job, or a little bit of laugh.
Denis, I have a question.
Oui.
So this is for like any kind of group singing. So
Correct.
Choir, chorus, barbershop,
Yep.
accompaniment.
Classical, spiritual, reggae.
Oh, okay, so there
name
was
it.
no category, there was no like barbershop category, no, okay. Yeah.
No.
Right, do we know if any studies exist like that? Like how many barbershop singers? I mean, we have registered members in our societies, but I guess that's the.
So you're asking me if we have a research that says whether the numbers are for barbershoppers only?
Yeah, but I guess that would be registration in our society.
Yeah, I don't have that in Ontario specifically, but I mean, I do have the numbers from Harmony Inc. We're looking at 2,000 minus about 6.5% from a couple of years ago from pandemic, normally at an average of -1 +1 type of thing, if you're looking at the numbers. But in Harmony Inc., we're looking at about 2,000 members across the board. I think 21 for Sweet Adelines, and BHS was 17, something like that. Diane? Diane, you have your hand up. Or you were just giving me a high five? Diane Turka, flicker the light. Tell us you're with us. All right. Well, whenever you're still on mute, so I'm not too sure if. Okay. Moving on.
There you go.
Oh,
I'm unmuted now. Sorry.
Cool.
So I just wanted to say I sing in a number of choruses, choral, church choruses, all kinds of things. And when it comes to barbershop, people go, no, can't do that because of the different parts and stuff like that. And it requires a lot of work.
have they done it?
No, they haven't done it. But even if they
so how do they know?
Some people just want something that is more fun and easier and not so I just find it's a more difficult area to get members to agree to commit to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I completely get that. That some people find that more complicated or more difficult, but there's only 13 notes. And the only difference is you're just changing the order of them in a different way for barbershop or for classical or for rock and roll or for heavy metal, right? It's all the same notes. It's just a different, a different order. So whether you're singing soprano from Handel's Hallelujah or you're singing baritone from, Bring 'Em Home, it's just musical notes and words in a specific order. I would suggest that the people that are using that argument to not experience barbershop very likely have not done it, and would if they had that much difficulty in barbershop, they'd have the same difficulties in any other environment because it's a bunch of people singing against each other. So I would quickly have a counter argument to say, you know what? I think that if you gave yourself a shot and you tried it, I think that maybe you'd be surprised at how much fun you had that night. Because I forget who mentioned it. I think it's Amy, but Freddie King said, Freddie King was a pretty prominent male barbershop music educator and fantastic man, and he said, they join for the music, but they stick around for the fellowship, right? And so sure, there's that musical argument, but is it only that keeps you in your course, Diane? Do you only go to your barbershop course rehearsal because you want to sing barbershop? Is that the only element that keeps you coming back? Right.
No.
I postpone that. I suggest that no, there's more elements. So it's an argument, and it's there, but I think it's relatively easy to circumvent that argument by saying, I think you should give it a shot, because I got to tell you, last time that, I thought it was difficult, and, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. And I've been doing it for 700 years and I love it. And my life couldn't be, again, if somebody throws a knife at you and you just move over, that knife is gone and they can't throw it back at you. Right. So if you kind of just don't dismiss the argument, but say, I don't know, I think that, it's like, or you could say, listen, I'm going to ask you to come until you say yes. And then, if, once you come, then, I'll stop asking. So that might also give them, giving them opportunity to be motivated. Speaking of which, why did you join? Right? If you scroll back to day one of when you made that decision to join, why did you join? I'm going to have to accelerate. What are the top 3 reasons why you joined? Not why you're still there, but why did you join? What attracted you to your course? Did you join because the director was cool? Because Lisanne says some of my friends were in it, right? So that's why you joined, not visited, right? You love to sing, of course, right? But when you joined, you probably had visited 1, 2, or 3 times, right? So odds are you hadn't made that many friends yet, right? So Margaret says that she was different than a choir. Nancy says because she wanted to sing and she wanted to be part of something, right? So what, the reasons that made you say, gosh darn it, not I visited, we've established that. Now you've gone through the door, you visited once, and then why did you join, right? Hearing, singing in harmony. I know. That's why I showed up, because I heard these 3 guys, well, there were 4 guys eventually, but they were singing and I just loved it. And I'm like, wow, you guys are amazing, and in hindsight, these guys were relatively okay, right? They were like a C+ quartet. Like they wouldn't win anything, but they were super nice. They were super fun, and they were super generous with their time with the kid that wanted to sing with them. And, I showed up and I fell in love with that group instantly, right? Music sounds awesome, of course, right? That first time, if you remember, if you teach tags, or if you sing with somebody and then they get to sing a tag and you see their eyes go from like this to like this when they hear the first few chords happening in the tag, right? And they flip out, right? That's the hook right there, right? But that's that emotion. I call it cocaine for the ears, right? First time you sing a tag, it's like you never want to not hear it again, right? So now, why are you choosing to stay? Amy says, for the previous question, she wanted to be part of, I knew I wanted to be part of it by the end of my first rehearsal. Amazing a cappella harmonies, and hearing them sing with feeling gave me goosebumps. I know how many goosebumps, right? Cool choreo. And then, Diane says, because Chris wanted to come back, father-son activity. And then because I got hooked too, of course. Nancy got hooked too, right? Why are you choosing to come back? And all of those, thanks, Stuart, or Diane, or Stuart. Thanks, Stuart. So all of those reasons, all of those things that you're answering why to, those are the things that you need to remember when you're recruiting, right? Those are the arguments that you're going to be using. Now, of course, when you have guests, I don't know about you, but when we have guests, there's a certain amount of, home cleaning that happens, to make sure that everything is nice and shiny, so that, the house is ready to be visited. And I know all the rooms that, close the doors to all the rooms I don't want them to go into. So, if you think of your group, how healthy is your chorus?
Question.
And I have 3 different, types of courses in my image here. And what type of, how of health do you have in your group? If I cross the door and I come and chat with you at your rehearsal, am I going to walk out of there energized and happy and excited, or am I going to be depressed? When I walk in, do I feel excitement? Do I feel energy? Is there, I don't know, are there flowers at the entrance, or are people, very receptive and responsive and bringing me something to play with? Like, here's some music, or here's a bottle of water or something, what's the energy when you cross the door? Like, is it, and again, we're not going for circus here. We're going for welcoming, happy, inclusive, of course. But what is that? And you may not specifically have a direct control over that, but you definitely have an opinion, and you're definitely able to share that opinion with somebody that may or should have an impact on that, and say, I noticed when we come into rehearsal, it feels kind of meh. It's a bit, that way we can spruce up things. I don't know, have barbershop music play, use speakers and have some music play, before rehearsal, kind of as a background music, play the Champions or something. So what's going on with that? What's going on? All right. We're going to pick up the pace a bit here. First thing that you should do, I said top 10, so hopefully I need to stay true to the theme. What are you looking for? Do you know your course's average age? If you don't, you should find out. Somebody's got that stat somewhere. What type of course are you? Are you more of a social club where people come to have a sit and chit chat and have tea and then go home? Or are you more contest oriented course, right? I know we have both represented very well here tonight. Are you a mix of both? But what's your type of course, right? Once you do know that average age, you want to aim for about 10 years under that average age, right? So if your average age is 63, and you decide that you want to start recruiting 25-year-olds, you're probably going to be working a lot harder than if you're aiming for 53-year-olds, right? And that will make your average age gradually go down. And then, one will slip in, or a daughter will slip in, or a cousin or something that'll come in and join. And then gradually you get that boost, right? Or you have, your daughter start a quartet and win gold medals and stuff like that, and so that can help too, but not everybody's able to do that. What's a good fit for your course? What type of personality is a good fit for your course? Some courses are more open to having a bunch of A-type personalities, super contest, rah, 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 I want to be in the front row and kill it thing. But there's a type of personality, right? When we're in creating either a training or when we're creating a sales program, we'll say, let's create the avatar, right? So let's create the ideal member. How old is she? What does she do for a living? What's her family status? What's her favorite color? What's her favorite food? Like, this person by heart. And the reason you know this imaginary avatar is because she exists, and there's definitely 20 of them in your town. And that person wants to be talked to a specific way. And the more you know about this person, the more you're able to focus and target all of the ways you're talking to these people. You wouldn't talk to a 17-year-old girl the same way you would talk to a 45-year-old judge who, is going to join your course. You're not going to have the delivery is just not going to be the same. And the more you know who you're talking to, the more you're going to be able to focus directly on that person. And of course, what's not a good fit? There are people that just won't fit well in your group, and them, and that's cool, right? We don't want to be everybody, but the people that we want to be really good at. So it's kind of okay to make sure that you consider that. The second thing you need to keep in mind is to always be on the lookout. Recruiting, it's not just a one-day thing, twice a year, right? It's an everyday thing. People are busy. People, have to do a ton of stuff. We all woke up this morning with a list of things to do, and some of those things that we wanted to do yesterday. You have to interrupt that. There are a lot of people that they don't even know you exist, right? And if they did know, they would visit. Like I said, if you walked down your downtown Main Street and you talked to 100 people and said, do you know my chorus? I sing with the Sugar Tones. Have you heard of the Sugar Tones? How many people out of the 100 people that you would stop in a row would say, yes, I know your chorus? Because every one of those, 1 out of 3 of those women are potential to join your group. And they don't even know you exist. So before we start giving them arguments to not visit, let's make sure we actually make sure that they know we exist, And so that means that you have to think in a kind of a different mindset where it's a daily process. Do you wear your pin, right? Your Harmony Ink pin, right? That's an icebreaker, right? They can't join you if they don't know about you. So always be on the lookout literally means when you leave the house, any woman that's out there is a potential guest that can come and visit your group. Now, the best way, number one most effective way to recruit is by extending a personal invitation. Being personally invited to join or participate in a group like ours by someone and respect is far more convincing and has a whole lot more weight than a postcard or an email or a text. If you know people who used to sing in your group who just or used to be involved in a musical group and are no longer involved, or if you see people after church on Sunday, or if you're in a social gathering, right? Now, obviously, it's not always possible to have a personal one-on-one or a personal invitation. And of course, you can kind of side pad that with, like a phone call or an email, but I would stop at phone call, because in the end, the reason that people will consider your invitation is because they feel you care. They feel you care about them. And if you think of all of the joys that you've had when you've been a barbershopper, why would you not want to share that with someone else? Of all of the joys, like if I said to you, you know what, I'm going to erase all of the barbershop memories that you have like that, right? And you will never have them again. That would hopefully not make you feel good. Hopefully you have a ton of great, fantastic, life-changing memories that you made, not because you're an amazing singer or because you're rich or because you should be the director of North Metro, but because you're a person with feelings and you met other people with other feelings and you sang, and when you sang together, you sometimes had tears together and you had laughs together and you felt a bond, right? It is one of the most, like, literally heartbeat synchronizes when you have a chorus singing together, right? It's not woo-woo stuff, right? It's there. It exists. People connect beyond what they even understand of how they connect when they sing in choruses. So why would you prevent anybody from having that? Wouldn't you want everybody that you know and love and care about to go, are you kidding? This is the best thing since, I don't know, sliced bread, right? I don't know why sliced bread was the best thing. That excitement of sharing that love that you have, it's generous. You're not pestering someone. You're saying, hey, I want you to love this as much as I love that. And the reason that now you might not want to open with that, because then sometimes, it feels like a little psycho, but thanks, Martha, for coming out. But there's a way to deliver that where you feel that, right? We tell waitresses, if you want to increase your bonus, your tip, when you're taking the order, in your mind, say, I love you. Right? Because your eyes don't do the same thing. Your demeanor doesn't do the same thing. Your voice doesn't do the same thing. So if you say to somebody with the thought in mind, I care about you, and I know that your life will be better once you enjoy this, once you experience this hobby, then your delivery, your voice tone, how you speak to people will not be the same. It will be tailored and it will be tainted with all of that care that you have for those people. All right, I'm ranting. Sorry. Be creative. I keep on saying frequently to my chorus, normal is not entertaining. Nobody watches Netflix to see normal things happen. I don't need Netflix to watch somebody make spaghetti, right? Although I do, but you know what I mean? Like there's when you're making messages, when you're creating things, if you happen to be doing stuff online, which we can talk about in a bit, be creative. Go where people are, right? There are karaoke, there are karaoke bars, right? What are you part of, right? When you're sharing online, right? Let me list, rapid fire, right? Are you part of email groups? Do you subscribe to lists? What kind of social media are you part of, right? Are you sharing posts? Can you copy posts? Can you, if your course creates something for the course's Facebook, do you always share that on your wall, right? Does the course have a website that you can share with people? Are you part of artistic blogs? Do you have a video that you're able to make and during course rehearsal of the baritones having a really hard time creating a part or something, and it, everybody's having a great laugh? Are you part of communities, networking events, choral consortia? Are you part of anything that has to do with music programs for high schools or college, right? Do you know the musical educators in your area, right? If you haven't spoken to them, they'd like help too. And if you just offered to help a musical educator and say, hey, we'd like to, I don't know, pay for this year's books, or we'd like to offer you free learning tracks and free sheet music. I did that here at Canterbury with James Caswell, and we had a group. We had 24 ladies that, were in the grade 10, and we gave them 4 songs, and we gave them learning tracks, and they had this little internal mini contest that they did, and they loved it. It was awesome. And their huge disappointment was that because they did it in grade 10, they couldn't do it in grade 11 because it was the same program. I mean, so, the ladies were just super excited. I got 0 membership out of that, by the way, but I can tell you that the points were awesome with James. And when he's got something that has to do with anything that music a cappella, he picks up the phone and says, hey, Denis, we got that. Can you do it? And it happens like that, right? So those are fantastic connections to have, promote their show, etc. Be relentless. Most people recruit twice a year, right? They recruit for the annual guest night. That happens usually in September or October. And then, for the holiday chorus or some sort of special event chorus, right? So I suggest that if you were to be successful at recruiting in your group, you specifically, right? Not your neighbor, you, right? You should have a goal of bringing 1 guest at each rehearsal once a month, right? If you make that habit, it'll take you, maybe a month or 2 to get into the habit of thinking about that. But eventually it'll be like bringing your music binder, and you'll say, I have to bring a guest, and I don't have a guest. It's the 3rd week of the month. I got to go find me a guest. And you'll ask the person wherever it's possible, right? Keep a potential list of names, maybe on your phone, and say, and forget about the email, pick up the phone, call them up, go see them, say, we'll talk about that in a bit. I'm moving on. Do you have an elevator pitch? I'm going to accelerate on that because I'm almost done. But in sales, we talk about an elevator pitch as, it's basically a 30-second way to introduce you, your company, a couple of key points, and making a connection with somebody, right? Well, if I say, hey, Diane, tell me about your course, right? Well, there are things that you can include when you're making a pitch, right? That doesn't sound like a pitch, right? I sing in an a cappella women's group here in Ottawa, and they're called the Sweet Tones. And, I kind of just wanted to meet people. Music was into my life. It was just, I've always needed to, have fun with other musicians. And, I wanted to get out of the house. So I visited this course rehearsal. They were super nice. They weren't like, pressuring me to join anything. And after 3 weeks, I joined, and I've been in the course for like 5 years, and it's brought me so much joy. I feel healthier. I feel happier. My stress level is down, and I really feel like I belong to something, right? That is an elevator pitch, right? And once you have that, it's not super complicated. It's just a couple of ingredients, just like apple pie. But once you put them in the right order and you've rehearsed it, you know it like the back of your hand. Somebody says, so did a barbershop sing a cappella? You can go, and you got your thing, and you're like, boom, you're ready to go. And it just feels natural, and it's nice and easy. And this way, you don't have to think about, and we do this, and we do that, and we do this, and we do that. And you're not trying to overwhelm them with 1,000 details. You're just saying, this is what it's in it for me. This is what's in it for me. This is why I enjoyed it, right? Oh, sorry. Be proactive, please. A lot of people send way too many emails. I'm really, really trying to, I live with emails. I get 100 emails a day, but I got to tell you, man, there's nothing like speaking face to face with someone, right? When you are talking with somebody, so I do it this way. I say, what's your first name? So I go to my phone, and then I go new contact, and then I type their first name, and then I go like this. And I go here. And then you just give them your phone, and then they type in their last name, they type in their email, they type in their phone number. You say, just why don't you give me your information? And how about, I pick you up on Tuesday around 7 o'clock. We'll just go to the rehearsal. And then at the end of the rehearsal, I'll drive you back, and, it'll be that easy, right? Follow up with a phone call once the person has visited, a couple of days later, say, hey, hey, so how's it going? So I just wanted to get some feedback. Did you have anything? Were you lost? Not, did you like it? And do you want to join? Right? Just, how was it? How did it go? Did you have any questions? I'm sure there's a lot of information happening during rehearsal, anything you wanted to clarify, so, and no pressure, no pressure. They're going to join eventually, but the one thing that they won't join for is if there's a lot of pressure, right? And please don't close a meeting with, let me just send you an email about it. That's just not going to happen. Now let's keep it real. Not everybody is going to join, and that's okay. If you bring in one guest a month, you'll probably get, 3 out of the year, that's fine. But the thing is that person knows somebody else. So if they say, yeah, no, it's not really what you say, cool. So who else do you know that would enjoy this? Not, do you know someone? Because if they have a chance of answering a yes, no question, they'll answer with no. That's always, right? Are you looking for something? No. So, who do you know that might enjoy this activity? They'll say, nobody. Or they say, you know what? My sister-in-law, she was like talking about phone name, email, let's have a nice day. Not, could you call her for me, right? It's on you. You call her, you email her. And of course, if they say no, move on. Don't alienate them, because you got to sell them tickets later on for the show, so, got to keep them as a friend. And of course, ask for referrals. When you talk about your course, brag. Go ahead and feel proud. It's okay to be proud. It's okay to be happy about your course. And it's okay to go, gosh darn it, I had so much fun last night. And, and when you're talking about that, I'm talking, of course, posting something on Facebook and say, I had so much fun with my singing friends last night. It was just amazing. You don't have to always make it about joining the course, just bragging about the fact that you had fun, right? You know how you have the picture of the wine glass on Friday night, or the feet on the beach, and all of those things. You're not saying you have to travel with me, but if you have those feet on the beach, I got to tell you, you sure know where they've been and where they're doing, So like, that's the kind of thing that people want to participate in. So, go ahead and be excited about that. Celebrate one of your members. Yes, Tracy. Oh, that's cool. Don't worry. I thought you had a question. So celebrate the fun stuff that happens. If there's something goofy that happened at your course, take a picture of it, put it on Facebook and say, look at that, was so funny. Oh my God, can you believe she did that? Wow. And that's fine, and move on. Okay. So be, and sorry, I'm going to go back to here. Remember that people notice stories about people. I don't know if you've ever, I remember being with Northern Lights, and we won a gold medal in Toronto in front of 9,000 people. And I got to tell you, when I told all of the people that I work with on Monday morning, they couldn't care less. They just, I could have told them that I mowed the lawn and it would have been the same level of excitement to them. It's huge to you, but what they have to see is how huge it is to you. Your emotions, your excitement, your love of it, your passion of it. That's what they'll want to have, not the gold medal or the whatever. It's what's in your heart that they want to see, right? Collect IOUs, right? Because you give a lot of money over a year to a lot of people, right? And those people have no problem taking your money, whether it's your lawyer, your dentist, your accountant, your cleaning lady, your garage person, your cleaner, your hairdresser. All of those people take your money without no problem, right? And you give them the business. So go ahead and remember mentally that they owe you a little bit. And when you come in and say, hey, I've been coming here for 2-3 years, and I noticed that you've been humming when you've been cutting my hair. How about you come and visit the rehearsal? And, I'd like to show you some of my friends and introduce you to what's going on. I think you'd have a lot of fun. Well, I say, come on, I've been coming here for a decade. You owe me that much, So of course, it depends on the type of relationship you have with the people that you collaborate with, but you get my point. All of those people, right? If there's one a month in there of people that you could collaborate with, that you give money to, then say, you, I think, should come to my rehearsal, right? Let them decide that they're not going to come back, but don't decide for them before you ask them that they're not going to come back or come at all, right? Almost done. I know. Make it fun. That's got to tell you, that's one of the things that so many people forget. It's got to be fun. If people don't want to come back next week, it wasn't fun. Now, that part you have some control over during a rehearsal, but the before the rehearsal, the after the rehearsal, the follow-up a couple of weeks later, the messages that you put on Facebook, or the follow-ups that you have the next day, you know, they need to have a fun vibe energy, a positive energy. You know, it needs to be fun. And the reason that I showed this is because, you know, if we would have had tons of more time, you know, you can very easily create these little things. If you go meme generator, or if you go, you know, Canva, and you go Facebook post, there are templates free out there, up the yin yang. It's crazy the amount of stuff. And it's just have fun with it, you know? 2 more. Here's my challenge to you. Do you commit to bringing groups, to bringing your group some guests for the next 3 months? Let's start the month on January 1st, right? So January, February, March. You can write it down if you feel courageous. You can type it into the chat if you want a real commitment that will be recorded for posterity. And then we can call you back and say, so did you get your 6 guests, Amy? One of the things you can do is have an internal competition within your section or between sections. Are the basses able to recruit more than the leads? Maybe the baritones are better. Maybe the tenors are better, right? So have an internal fight, and then whoever wins gets pizza from the other 3, you know, or something like that, you know. Think about it this way. If everyone in your group succeeded in 1 new member, your group would double. Like that. Your group would be twice as big, like that. Some will bring 2, and some will bring -1. That's okay. But the average is everybody wants to bring 1. We're doubling the size of the group. Think of how much fun that would be to be able to have a group that would be twice the size, even 50% larger. If I had 10 people join your course next week, how much fun would that be? Right? We're not talking hundreds of people. Take the number of people in your town and then divide it by 2, by 2, by 2, by 2, and by 2, and you still got thousands of people. And you only need 20. The numbers are there, right? So if you accept the challenge, then go ahead and put yourself up through that. That'll be a New Year's resolution. I will bring 1 new guest, not a member, a guest, to come and visit and experience the joy of barbershop once a month, January, February, and March. If everybody did this, we would literally be on fire in terms of recruitment. And remember that we lose half of our members in their first year, right? So if you have 100 people join your course, 50 of them will quit in the first year. Now that's not your fault. It's not, you know, what you're doing, but half of them will leave in the first year. So we got to do something to retain them as best as possible. I'm a bit over my time, but I figured with the buffer that we had at the beginning with Deke Sharon, you're forgiving me. So if you have any questions, if you have any, whatever, if you have anything, you want to reach me, that's my name, Denis LaFlamme, laflamme.denis@gmail.com, 859-8138. And I will gladly spend time with you to figure out things. We had included in the poster, I don't know if you read that, but basically, I've spent a bit of time helping out courses at, actually Jim and I were collaborating quite a bit in the Ontario district. And so if your course would like to have an hour, I will offer each of your courses an hour of consultation, of marketing / recruiting / PR, where we can establish a bit of a plan, a bit of a focus group, and a bit of a, here's what we're going to be doing, and get some go-dos to figure out, so that maybe your course can put it into a different gear and feel better about it. And that's totally on me. It's doesn't cost anything. You won't be sold a course at the end. I don't have a book to push or anything like that. It's just because the more we are, the more fun it is when we go to area contests. So, why not make that party as big as possible? So that's me. I hope this was worth a bit of your Sunday evening. And reach out to me by email, or I can attend if you have your board meeting on Zoom, for instance, right? We can all sit down and do that through Zoom. So yeah. But and by the way, I don't have to go. I know it says 7 to 8. We can stop the recording now if you want, or I don't know who's in charge of that. But if for those of you who want to stick around, and if you can't, it was lovely spending an hour with you. But if there are some people that have specific questions that you'd want to chat about, we can definitely do that now.